For 2026, Mitsubishi has ditched the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter four-cylinder in lieu of a 1.5-cylinder turbocharged mild hybrid four-cylinder setup. So can you expect better fuel economy if you do a lot of highway driving? Well, tonight we find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2026 Mitsubishi Outlander. In this test, we're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour, to get a realistic fuel economy number for this larger compact crossover. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. I suppose larger compact is a bit of an oxymoron, but it really is the case with this car because it's really not that much larger than something like a Toyota RAV4 or a Honda CR-V, but it does manage to squeeze a third row in there, something you really don't get much in this segment. It's definitely an oddball sort of vehicle, and considering that the plug-in hybrid Outlander exists, for somebody truly concerned about around-town fuel economy, you might want to consider going that way. But if you just want a more of a straightforward, compact crossover that can carry a good amount of things, stuff, and people, this might be the one for you. So if you do want to see more on it, check the link below for our full review. We also have dedicated reviews, multiple here, of the 12-speaker premium Yamaha sound system, one of our favorites, so check the link below for those. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this Outlander 30 miles per gallon on the highway, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are plenty of people who do higher speeds than that, higher state, steady state, and would like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect here in the real world. So in order to test that out, we're going to head over to the gas station at night when there's less traffic. We're going to fill the Outlander all the way up. We're going to go out and do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, a few things to note for the test. Outside temperature will be somewhere in the mid to upper 60s. Should be fairly reasonable outside. We're going to have our tire pressure set at their door placard 35 psi cold. And we're going to run the climate control at 73 degrees auto. So, let's go get this thing filled up and head on to the test. We've filled up with just over 2 gallons here in the Outlander. Before we get started, we're going to reset the trip computer. All items right there, yes. We're going to start our GPS. Climate control's rolling at 73 auto. And we are ready to begin. Now let's see, we do have a few different drive modes in here. We got this very old school style rotator knob. Got eco, normal, looks like a twisty road, trail, a few different trail modes, and then a downhill descent. Hill descent control. We're going to run this test in eco. Now, like I said, no change in highway fuel economy rating from the 2.5 down here to the 1.5. And it kind of makes sense in some ways since we're not really seeing much of the benefit of the mild hybrid or anything like that. But also I'm surprised that we can't see maybe a little bit of benefit dealing with elevation and also just the smaller engine. But maybe it's got to work a little harder. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what we actually get here in the real world. Such a nice little precise turn signal. Listen to this. It's almost like a little metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's also good that the navigation tells me that this is a drainage ditch. Very useful. Anyway, the goal of this test is not to hypermile, but rather to get a realistic figure. So in order to do that, I'm getting up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace, and I'm going to set the cruise control at a GPS indicated 71 miles per hour. It should allow us to average 70 over the test. And it's telling me that there's construction ahead. Thank you. I don't think there's ever not been construction on the 405 since I've moved to California, so that would certainly get frustrating in a day-to-day. I'm sure you can turn it off. But getting up to speed here, it's actually looking like our speedometer is reading low compared to the GPS. GPS has given us, well, it was giving us 72 there for a moment, and now traffic seems to be wanting to go slower. I did get out and start running this test a little bit earlier than usual. It looked like traffic was lightening up. It's only 7:22, and being that it is near the middle of June, you guys can see how light it is. It's like I'm not even having to drive at night. Other highway impressions, initially it does seem decently quiet in here. We've got dual pane glass, at least in the front. Our sunshade is still open. Not bad in here. We're gonna file in under the RLX. Don't see too many of those anymore. RLX Hybrid. Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris, you have a nice RLX. Very cool. Anyway, up to 71 on the GPS is giving us 70 on the dash. That's a bit frustrating to have it out of whack like that. But let's turn the cruise on. Looks like we have an active lane keeping functionality. Let's see how that works throughout the test. Yeah, slow it way down here. Okay, well, this should be a pretty decent place to be. It'll be interesting to see how it works. Look at how big it says cruise there. Cruise. Funny. So, big part of tonight is going to be testing the Yamaha 12-speaker sound system here with the members-only track. So if you do want to see a full-hearted, long members-only sound test, check the link below. We're going to be spending probably a whole entire test listening to members-only requested tracks. And if we somehow extinguish all those, I'll play some of my own. So here we go, eardrums, time to listen to some music. And for those of you just watching the fuel economy test, stay tuned to this time-lapse of the entire trip.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the 2026 Mitsubishi Outlander. Unfortunately, not a particularly smooth test. As we were coming down into Oceanside, about getting near our halfway point, I noticed traffic going northbound was incredibly backed up. Looked on the map, and sure enough, there was an accident. So what I did was I continued along for about an extra 20 to 25 miles or so, and then turned around, and that was enough time for the accident to clear up. I was like, okay, cool, well, great, that's going to keep our data valid, and no harm, no foul. But then all of the extra traffic that had been backed up for probably 30, 40 minutes or so there had eventually caked its way up further north and kind of caused a little extra traffic backup. So wasn't particularly smooth. I think we've averaged over 68.1, so still a fairly decent non-moving average. I bet our moving average is up in the 69 range already. But we did get slowed down a little bit there for 5 minutes or so, running decently below our desired speed. However, this is a fine place to be. It's hard to fully judge seat comfort considering I've been in the saddle for 2 hours now, as opposed to the typical hour 25, hour 30 that this test usually warrants. But I'm just feeling like I'm missing some bottom seat cushion a little bit, and the seat is a little bit narrow, a little bit too much bolstering as well. What else? Tack shot, we're looking about 1850, maybe 1900 RPM there, cruising at 71 miles per hour. A little annoying that you constantly have that chime sound every time the active lane keeping kicks back on. That might be something you can disable, this is heavily based off the Nissan systems, and I remember from the more recent Nissans I've driven that the systems are very customizable in the settings menu, so it's possible you can turn that off, but at least as it comes from the factory, a little bit frustrating there. Sound system, fantastic. Not surprised. We did a very long members-only sound test, so feel free to check the link below for either that or our full sound system review. But we're going to get this back to the pump, fill it all the way back up, and crunch our final numbers. Oh, I should say, according to the vehicle's readout, 30.3 miles per gallon, so very accurate with the EPA, if that proves to be true. We ended up putting in a total of 4.605 gallons back into the tank of the Outlander, and we traveled 140.4 miles on this one, so an extra 20 miles in each direction compared to our usual test. So 140.4 divided by 4.605 has given us, okay, very surprisingly accurate to the vehicle's trip computer, especially considering how inaccurate the mileage was. Look at that, 30.3. This is actually giving us 30.5. That was going between 30.3 and 30.5. So, I guess it doesn't get the round, does it? It has to go down to 30 miles per gallon here on the Mitsubishi Outlander. And that is a little disappointing, because we actually got 1 mile per gallon better when we were testing the last Mitsubishi Outlander with the 2.5 liter. And like I said, sometimes displacement. This guy's getting photos of a Civic, which is cool, and I can't blame him because I often get Civic. You want me to move, man, so you can get a better angle? You good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Yep. It is a little disappointing, and it just kind of goes to show that sometimes a little bit extra displacement can help when just cruising along the highway. I mean, don't get me wrong, 30 to 31 could be within a margin of error, especially with the extra traffic we ran into, but, you know, still kind of disappointing. I'm sure this powertrain would get better miles per gallon around the city, but highway, you're not really seeing any changes. Now, that being said, though, 30 miles per gallon is not terrible for a vehicle of this size, so I'm not exactly disappointed. We've got a 14.5 gallon fuel tank in here. 14.5 times that 30 miles per gallon is giving you a fair 430 miles of highway cruising range here in the Mitsubishi Outlander for 2026. So, again, for a vehicle with this kind of size and capability, I'm not mad about it. Certainly not really much to write home about. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on this car, check the link below. Like I said, Yamaha sound system, absolutely worth listening to. And we will see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.